We live? Hello.
We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Trade Decorator Festival. And this is our final show for you after 2 weeks. It's been amazing and I've loved every minute of it. And I've loved you all taking part. It's been great seeing the same names popping up time and time again. And I've had some fantastic feedback. And I can't wait for the next show in October. If you've got any ideas of what you'd like to see at the next show, then get in touch with me on our social media. Hi Roy, welcome to the show. Hi to the rest of you. I can see there's people still joining us. And for this evening's show, you can see I've got a load of guests with me. I'm really excited. This is going to be fun. Joel, hi. I've
Hello.
got Joel Bardall here from Fix Radio. And Joel, do you want to introduce your guests?
Yeah, we'll do. Right, so first of all, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Of course, I'm Joel Bardall, and the host of the Painted Decorating Show, and your host this evening. And also, I am joined we have Bryan Dennett. Good evening, Bryan.
Good evening, Joel.
We have Jon Mears. Good evening, Jon.
Evening.
And we have Sean Kelly. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening, Joel. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. All right, great stuff. Right, we ready to rock and roll then?
We are. We're ready. You know what? I'm going to let you take over.
All right, brilliant stuff. Right, let's do it. Right. Hello. Right. Okay. So yeah, first things first. A little bit about myself. Obviously, I host the Painting and Decorating Show on Fix Radio, sponsored by Leyland SDM, and I also run my own decorating business called Bardall Decorating Services. And you can find me at Bardall Decor on the socials like Twitter and Instagram. Bryan, we start with a little bit about yourself as well, please, mate. About your business.
Yeah. I run our family business, which was started by my grandfather back in 1946. So I am now the third generation. Most of my work is all local. I don't have to travel more than sort of 3 or 4 miles, really. I would say probably 98% of my work is all very local, within a 5-mile radius.
Excellent stuff. All right. Sean, can you tell us a bit about yourself, please, mate?
Hi, yeah, I'm Sean Kelly. I'm a Hearts Decorator on Instagram and Twitter. I've been decorating for over 30 years now, all around the Hertfordshire, Buckinghamshire, Bedfordshire, basically the home counties. Occasionally go into central London. 95% of my work is just domestic. The remaining is commercial.
Brilliant stuff. All right, excellent. And we have Mr. Mears. Jon, how you doing, mate? Tell us a little bit about yourself as well, please.
Good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, so I look after the sales and marketing for Andura Coatings, a paint manufacturer based in Oxfordshire. And I also run my own blog website, jmears.co.uk, where I offer free sales and marketing support for decorators.
Excellent stuff. Well, thanks again, gentlemen. Thanks for taking the time to join us this evening, and thanks again for everyone watching at home. Right, so we've introduced a bit about ourselves. It's been a bit of a blind date moment then, wasn't it? I feel like Silver Black. Right, so let's talk about current jobs. What's everyone been up to lately? What you've been working on? Recent jobs of the past month or so. Let's start with you, Bryan.
I've just finished a couple of weeks ago. An internal on an old cottage that I started back at the beginning of Christmas, or beginning of December, then stopped for Christmas and New Year. Literally been going room to room. A lot of sort of patching and plastering to do in some of the rooms. Apart from that, just doing the usual, ceiling, walls and woodwork in it. A lot of it needed a lot of prep because it's sort of like in 2 halves. There's an old part of the house which gave the problems because a lot of it was all old lime plaster. The new side of the house was, pretty good, apart from very poorly done. Usual chippies mistakes to make good and all that sort of thing. Plasterers mistakes, but just basic stuff really. Most of my work is all domestic anyway, so.
It's usually us lot that has to put the mistakes right anyway, isn't it? The plasterers and the chippies and all that. Yeah, I think we're all used to that.
We're magicians.
Exactly. Yeah. What about yourself, Sean? What have you been up to, mate?
For for about sort of 3 weeks on this year, because as I was saying to you on Fixed Radio, I had my van stolen towards the end of last year, and so I've just got back to work, and I was working on a job in Watford for the last couple of weeks, and then so sadly I've then I've contracted COVID, and so now I'm off for another 10 days isolating. So it's been
You've not had much luck. You've not had much luck recently, have you, mate? Bless you.
Not really.
No. Well, I tell you what, we're gonna touch on that as well. The van theft and also the COVID as well. But I mean, fantastic that you still managed to get on though, mate. I mean, it's I hope you're feeling okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, it's luckily my fitness levels are quite high anyway. But yeah, again, it's again, obviously, with most of us would have known somebody who's either been struck down by COVID or sadly passed away by it, and so thankfully I'm still here, but yeah, again, it's still early days. I only got a positive test on Tuesday of this week, so it's only 3 days 3 days ago. So yeah, another week and just constantly getting tested just to make sure. But yeah, just so again, I've got a lot of work booked in and lined up and deposits taken, but it's just about wanting to get back and do the work.
No, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Well, John, what have you been doing, mate? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been trying to adapt to the whole working from home situation. So, yeah, I have it a lot easier than you guys. I spend most of my day sat on a comfy chair drinking coffee. So, I don't. But yeah, it comes with its challenges, and I'm usually out and about on the road as a sales rep for Andura. So it's a little bit difficult, a little bit different. I'm spending a lot of time on Zoom calls and video calls like this, so it's the way it is. But I'm feeling pretty positive about the industry as a whole going forward. I think we're on the up. I think with Boris's latest news, people are starting to see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm excited to see what the next few months is going to bring for our industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that subject, going forward, what's everyone got lined up job-wise? We'll start with you again, Bryan.
Well, my next job is a bedroom in a barn conversion. I've actually got to travel for this one. It's down in West Sussex, which is a long way for me. As I say, I normally don't travel, but it's one of my customers that only live just down the road from me. Has just moved down there and wants me to travel down there to do her work still. So that's very nice. Following that, I've got 3 big hall stairs and landings to do, one after the other. Then I've got a few window restorations to do in a listed building. And by then, I'll probably start doing some of the exteriors that I've got booked in.
You got many exteriors booked in then?
I think there's 4 booked in at the moment. But also in the pipeline, I've got my own renovation that I'm going to be starting to tackle soon, because I lost my father last April, just after the start of lockdown. And
I'm sorry to hear that, Bryan.
I inherited his bungalow. So it's a bungalow actually that I was born in and my granddad built, and I was born there. So there's a lot of family history. So we've just submitted planning permission to turn it into a house, and we want to move in there ourselves. So
lovely stuff
going along in the background as well. So it's going to be a busy year.
Yeah, it sounds like it, mate. It sounds like it. Yeah, it's been interesting. I've had the inquiries. Do you know what? I know it's a bit different for everyone. Some people are really struggling at the moment work-wise, and other people just seems to be just jam-packed. And I'm quite fortunate. That's my case at the moment. I'm getting lots of calls, lots of inquiries. I've got so many exterior jobs lined up, but loads of jobs to see as well. So I can't complain on that front. John, what about yourself, mate?
Yeah, so lots going on with Andura at the moment. We've recently we've put in our new Anti-Microbial titanium range, which has been tested against numerous things, bacteria and viruses and stuff. So that's proven to be very popular at the moment. And we've got the next sort of 6 months will be taken up with that, and we're bringing in a new product which I talked to you about a little while ago, which we're going to be calling Scuff Guard, which is going to be our most durable.
You didn't
product
fancy
yet.
Wellard then? No, you didn't fancy
we didn't.
Wellard.
We didn't go with Andura Wellard in the end. Yeah. No. So yeah, we've got new products lined up. We're looking to expand our network of retailers. So it's exciting times for Andura.
Right, I know it sounds like it. But what about you personally? What about the stuff you get outside of working for Andura? Anything in the pipeline? Anything exciting to announce?
Well, thank you for kindly leading on to that. So I've got a new book due for release. I can tell you today that it's going to be released on Monday, the 1st of March.
And that's news. We didn't know that.
Exactly, that is brand new. 1st of March, I'll be releasing the new book, which is Advertising for Decorators. And the whole book it's written to give decorators everything you need to start getting more out of all of your advertising. So it'll give you the basic fundamentals of writing good adverts, choosing the right images, headlines, and things like that. And it talks specifically about different ways to use those techniques, whether it's on your website, in leaflets, newspaper ads, whatever it might be. I've written it as a sort of something you could look at and learn those skills and take them away for the rest of your career. But also, if you find yourself in a tight spot and you need some work quick and you want to go, right, let's just skip to the chapter that says, how can I create a good looking leaflet or a good looking Facebook ad or whatever, you can use it as a reference book like that. So yeah, Monday that comes out, I'll be doing a special discounted launch price of $7.99 for the paperback version, and I hope it helps a lot of decorators.
Lovely stuff. Am I allowed to say that I've got myself a copy, early edition?
Yeah, well, you're a celebrity, so
got to get some perks. Got to get some perks for the job. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. So,
do you know what, John? I read it. I read it all as well. I said to you, I will read it. Do you know, and honestly, it's another superb book. It's really good. Highly recommend it. And I know because obviously. I see there's lots of questions being asked on social media at the moment, and it's people asking things like Facebook and using social media to their advantage for advertising. And because you see a lot of people go, oh, Facebook doesn't work for me. But this kind of your book explains what they need to do, because you don't just set up a Facebook profile, business one, and go, right, where's all the customers? This explains what you got to do with moving forward with ads and stuff like that. And like I said earlier, obviously, I'm quite fortunate that my schedule's quite booked up. It's really good, but there's stuff in there still that I've taken on board. There was a couple of things. Personal highlights were blogs and videos you was talking about, which I thought was really good, because I thought, obviously, I'm doing a lot more of this kind of thing at the moment. I'm getting to hear the sound of my own voice and getting sort of a little bit used to it now. And I thought, that's a great idea. I thought we'd start adding things to my website and do things like that. So I thought it was really good. It's a really good book. So definitely highly recommend it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's what I want it to be. I want sort of wherever you are, whether you're a well-established business and you get loads of word of mouth, then you should still be able to find stuff from it. But like you say, a lot of people, they try certain techniques, whether it's leaflets or whether it's Facebook ads. They'll try it, throw some money at it and expect just to get results from it. And that's not how it works. You need to have an understanding of what makes a good advert and what makes a bad advert. As basic as, when you're watching the TV, there's hundreds of adverts every day, but you'll remember very few of them. But good adverts tend to follow certain formulas, and that's what I try and break down in the book and just show people, right, you don't have to throw loads of money at your advertising. If you enhance your skills on how you write headlines and choose the right images and stuff, you can spend very little on your advertising and get better results. So that's what I hope it'll bring to the industry. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what people think.
Brilliant stuff. Well done, mate. Well done. Sean, what have you got job wise? What have you got in the pipeline, mate? Sorry, mate, we can't hear you. Oh, Sean. Oh, sorry, Sean. We can't hear you, unfortunately, at the moment, mate. Oh, so Sean, I think we have to move forward. Hopefully, you're you'll be able to get back onto us soon. Right, let's move forward. Let's move on to our next topic now, which is COVID. Obviously, it's still very prevalent, and it's I think it is looking positive now with recent announcements and stuff like that. But then I think it goes to show, which was with Sean actually catching COVID recently, it just shows you that we're not out of the woods yet. I mean, Bryan, how has it been for you working in occupied properties at the moment?
I've been a little bit selectful to where I've worked. I've made sure that obviously during the summer when we were doing externals, there was no problem. But I still wanted to make sure that, especially sort of like a loo and a wash basin and things like that in a client's house was accessible to me. Mostly what people were doing was sort of saying, well, there's the downstairs loo. For the duration, you can use that. Obviously wiping it down at the end of the day and all things like that, and masks when I go indoors. So externals wasn't really too much of a problem. But when you're internal, I wasn't going to do anything, and I didn't do anything where I was going to be in the same room as the clients. So it was all jobs where I could be, like, say, the complete other side of the house, or just, a complete separate room, and I was shut away, and there was no problems like that. So, yes, it's slowed things up a bit. As I say, I've had to be a little bit more selectful as to what I did when I did it. But I suppose I'm quite fortunate. It hasn't affected me as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Do you know what? I was actually saying to Sean when Sean was on the show the other day, I just feel like I've had to adapt how I when working in people's properties. I've been making sure I've been masked up, wearing gloves, sanitizer, like say cleaning down surfaces and stuff like that. I've even actually gone and priced a job the other day, and the people said, "Oh, you don't have to worry about a mask." And said, "No, look, I'm going to make every effort, basically." And because I think we still need to play a part. I think we still have to be careful. And Sean, can you hear us now? Can we hear you? Still can't hear you, mate. No. Sean, so sorry. Because I want to get Sean's opinion on this, but we can't hear you, Sean. I'm so sorry, mate. What about the manufacturing side of things, John? How's that? Is that affected that at all?
Yeah, so we've had to adapt and change certain processes and the way we do things. So the people who can work from home, such as myself, we are working from home. Factory staff, again, it was one of those things where the industry, I think we got away quite lightly with it. Even from basic things like when you manufacture a paint, everyone in the factory is wearing full PPE as standard. So we already had a lot of sort of safety processes in place, and everybody was already wearing masks and things like that because of the powders and the chemicals and stuff involved with making the product. We've had to put things in place where we'll have certain buddy systems, so people will go into bubbles with each other. We've split areas of the workforce. Just made basic changes and everything like that, so that we can maintain social distancing as much as possible and protect the company and just try and keep delivering a consistent service. There's been challenges across the industry with bottlenecks on supplies coming into the country and stuff like that, which has been affected by COVID and Brexit and everything. Remember Brexit? That used to be a thing that we used to talk about. But yeah, so there's been challenges, but we've adapted and we've done our best to try and keep a consistent process and consistent delivery for everyone.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Any other challenges? Have you had to face any challenges while you've been working in people's properties, Bryan, at all over this kind of lockdown period? Anyone made like any difficulties working in people's properties, or like even making you feel uncomfortable, or any of that kind of situation?
No. As I say, that there are some clients, like you were saying just now, that you walk into their house. Oh, don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. It's not so much that I'm going to catch something, or I'm going to catch something off of them. I could be passing it. You don't know.
Yeah.
I had a COVID test a couple of weeks ago, and I was negative. which was good. But you still don't know, it's like an MOT. You're only negative on that day for that time of the test. The following day, you could still be carrying. Unless we tested ourselves every day, we're not going to know, are we?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I've had to step in sometimes and say, well, look, it's very kind of you to say don't wear a mask or whatever. But, I will wear a mask. And
Yeah, do you know what? People as well are offering teas and stuff like that. Like this job I've been on recently. First of all, it was like, do you want a cup of tea? And I thought, yeah, I really do want a cup of tea. But I'm like, practice what you preach. I'm like saying no to teas. Even pancake day, they're making pancakes. Do you want yeah, I want a pancake. But I'm like, no, I won't. I'm not going I can't. No. But the thing is as well, and even like just before Christmas, I was working in one, because a lot of properties are working at nice places and they've got plenty of toilets and stuff like that. But I noticed it was like the son had to come home because he said like a kid in the class, someone's like a COVID case, and I'm like, oh, great. And it was just at the very end of the job. So I thought, right, okay, going to get it all finished up, just packed away. But they said, oh, don't worry, when he's going to come home, we're going to take him straight into another room and he's going to be out your way. You haven't got to worry about it. I'm like, well, like we'll mask up, be out your way. Just we haven't even got to see him. And I was working in the hallway. And then I sort of turned around and he's like standing behind me, this little snotty kid. Like, and like, they've got all these toilets, but he wants to use the toilet that I'm sort of standing. I'm thinking, what are you doing? Go away. There's just like, I think some people, they don't really think. That's what I find sometimes. You kind of explain to them like why I'm wearing a mask and no to teas, and I will stay out your way, but I just need to get his iPad, or I just need to go into this room to just get the laundry out there. And you're thinking, you're not staying out the way, because I don't even want you to do that at the best of times when I'm working in someone's house. But especially around this time, to make it safe, we really need to. So I mean, you have to say it, but it's difficult sometimes, because at the same time, I'm very grateful that we can still work in people's properties and earn a living. So it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to try and find the balance of what to do sometimes. Yeah. But I think some people kind of get too trusting or too, don't know, blasé about the whole thing as well. I don't know. But it can be a bit of a challenge, really. So, anyone watching, would like to hear what your experiences are as well. If you've had any issues or any problems working in people's properties, or if you found it okay, that'd be good to hear from you. Reasons to be hopeful, though. How are we feeling about the situation now? Do you think we have some sort of normality by June? Do you think it's looking good, positive?
I'm not going to say by June, but yeah, things are looking better. Well, hopefully they're looking better.
Yeah.
I think it'd probably be, well, what is going to be normal again? Who knows?
Yeah, it's true.
The whole world has changed. But yeah, I would like to think with vaccinations and everything now that, yeah, we're going the right way. We're heading on the right side of it now, and there is light at the end of the tunnel as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just when.
Do you think there'll be a surge in business from clients who've been too scared to get the work done? Or do you think people might now go, oh, we can start going on holiday again, and it might quieten down? How do you think that might work in those factors?
Well, really, as you know, there's probably been a surge in work since the end of the summer, where people suddenly realise that they've got a lot of money to spend. I think also a lot of people have enjoyed having tradesmen in, because it is somebody to have a chat to, even if it is only a socially distanced cup of tea and that with them. Like most of my clients, they're all elderly clients. And well, I'm sure some of them only ever get me into work normally just so they can have a damn good chat with me for 3 or 4 days.
Do you pass them a brush? No, keep talking, but you might as well roll that wall at the same time,
Oh, many of them try and help out by doing a bit of patch. Well, you must know they do a bit of prep themselves. They put some concrete polyfiller in a hole. About 3 inches.
We filled the holes for you. Oh, thanks. Well, Bex, what do you think, John? Obviously, because you're in this sort of environment as well, you get to talk to lots of decorators. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the overall trend that I'm seeing is people are quite positive. I think there's a lot of people have been at home for a long time, and whether they've been working or furloughed, I think a lot of people are coming out of this whole thing with more money in their pocket. And a lot of them have been putting off certain home improvement things and having tradespeople in for the obvious reasons. So I think the first half of this year, I would expect to be a little bit of a struggle for a lot of people, but I think it will more than bounce back end of this year. I really think this could be one of the biggest years that the industry as a whole has seen, because I think there are people who have spent a lot of time looking at the same four walls in their house, getting bored of it, and thinking, there's a bit of money in my pocket. Do I want to risk booking a holiday abroad? Maybe not. Let's maybe book a cheaper weekend away or something like that, or stay in the UK and let's put some money into the house as well. So I hope, and that's the trend that I'm seeing, and I hope by the end of the year that the industry as a whole has grown.
What about price wise when it comes to paints? Do you think this is going to have because obviously prices go up anyway, but do you think this is going to have, what kind of impact do you think this will have on the price of the raw materials and the paints in general?
Yeah, so pricing, and it's interesting you talk about this, because I was literally putting an article together about this week, which I'll be putting out next week. So raw material costs have increased almost completely across the board, and there's a number of reasons for that, COVID being one of them. Taxes and different getting things into the country, and it's not just the raw materials for the paint, things like the tin that goes into obviously the tins that we're packaging it in. Tin prices have gone up quite a lot, and it's affected by things that you don't even think about. There's trade wars between China and Australia, plus there's increases in shipping costs because everybody's getting fined for having shipping containers too long at the docks, because it's difficult to get stuff in and out of the country at the moment. So there are lots of knock-on effects. So you'll have seen a lot of manufacturers have put increases on, but looking at the increases that other manufacturers have put on, I can tell you they are absorbing a lot of the raw material increases. So we've had our raw materials have increased by over 10%, no problem. We are having to find other efficiencies in the rest of the business to completely minimize that. And with the titanium range, we've made a decision to freeze the prices for at least the next few months, and we're going to try and do that. And hopefully things will bounce back, and we'll be able to just keep those prices as they are. But yeah, it's challenging because we are having to look at other areas of the business to save money to compensate the fact that materials are getting more expensive.
So your coffee fund's knackered then now?
I might start buying my own coffee, and as a salesman,
you're gonna have to start making your own coffee now. Oh, poor John. Get the violins out.
I'm going to be slightly unprofessional here, but I'm running out of charge. So hang on, I'm going to
Don't worry, mate. We're dropping like flies here anyway. Don't matter. Do what you want. I tell you what I'm going to do, because we was going to do a competition live, but we changed it up a little bit. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to read this out anyway. There will be a chance to win one of 5 decorating prize packs from our show sponsors, Leyland SDM. Leyland SDM are here to serve you with all your decorating and DIY essentials. They've got all the top brands in their 24 stores across London. Delivery is also available online. Leyland now deliver across the UK with free delivery on orders over £100. And you'll get a free gift with every order. And if you're watching this event now, you can also get 10% of your next order from leylandsdm.co.uk. To enter this competition to win a 5 decorating prize packs from Leyland SDM worth £100 each, you must be over 18 and your delivery address must be in mainland United Kingdom. And we'll do the actual competition towards the end of the show. And also there's going to be a little Brucey bonus. Is that right, John? There's going to be a chance to win one of copies of your sales and marketing for decorators?
Yes, I will be giving away 5 copies of my book to the winners. So yeah, that will be a little Brucey bonus on top of the
Brucey bonus. Beautiful, lovely stuff. Right, okay. Right, let's move on now. It's a shame because I think we've lost Sean, which is really, really unfortunate. because if oh yes, I know I was supposed to bring my one over here. I forgot. And
I tell you what, Joel, Brian is absolutely smashing it with the plugs. He's got an Andura sticker behind him. He's brought a book. He's flying.
I know I've let the team down. I was going to say, Sean was with us. I don't know what's happened. I think Sean's connection's been played up, unfortunately. But Sean, he obviously, yeah, like you said at the beginning of the show, he's actually tested positive for COVID, bless him. But also, we're moving on to our next subject now, which is van tool theft. And Sean had his work van stolen outside a job in London quite recently, just before Christmas. And it's a awful situation. I mean, van tool theft is massive, and it has been it's been something that's been happening for years now, but it just seems to have got so much worse. And I've had my van broken into. They drilled a hole in the side door. They managed to get in. And I actually was, when I was talking to Sean on my show the other day, I mentioned that they got into the van. But do you know when you see everyone's vans all pristine and they've got like festival sustainers and it's all nice and lovely? Well, mine was a heap, and I had a couple of because all the power tools to take out, but I had IKEA bags with dust sheets. So the only thing they got to see was a couple of IKEA bags for the dust sheets. So I thought, I'm glad I'm a pig. I'm glad I've got a messy van. But have you two? I assume you don't drive a van, John. But have you ever been affected by it? Is there any problems in your area? Do you have you come across it before at all?
No, but it's something that I talk to decorators about, and I hear about more and more often nowadays. And it's horrible. It's disgusting. It's just doing that. It's for me, it's lowest of the low, because not only you're stealing from someone, but you're taking away their ability to earn money as well.
Yeah.
And it's so horrible. And I had a discussion about this recently, because one of the things that I think is really effective from an advertising and a marketing point of view is to have a sign written van. But a counter to that is, if your van's sign written, it's almost like an advert for I've got tools in my van. Yeah. So what do you do? And I think it's really difficult. It's obviously some areas are going to be better than others, but it's for me, it's just the lowest of the low. It's such a horrible thing to see. And I was listening to your interview with Sean the other day, and amazing to see how the industry rallied around and helped him get back on his feet, because it can completely wipe you out. You lose that ability to earn. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, I mean it's terrible. But the thing is as well, I think, and I spoke about this in the previous shows as well. Obviously, those people responsible for doing it, obviously they're the lowest of the low. But people, if you're buying tools, you see like boot sales or who really sells on their power tools like in abundance? It doesn't add up. You see these fake like Facebook adverts. So if you kind of go in and you buy it and you think, oh, it looks a bit shifty, but you still buy it, then you're just as, I think it's just as bad as
more
well.
So,
I think
you're making the market for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's But I've actually come up with a really good idea, and I have been dying to show this evening, actually for about a week now. And
I'm excited about this.
You ready?
Yeah.
What happened was I come up with this idea of sitting there, because I'm going to be working. I've finished this job and I'm going to be working in an area. It's a nice area, but it's a hotspot. And I'm on this Facebook group, and I keep getting like notifications, and it's a dread. When you see the notifications, you think, oh God. And you just see van getting broken into. But these guys, they drive around, and they did the operation they've got. They're on the ball. They nick different cars. They change the number plates. The number plates get taken, they get left in the road, but they're in and out. They know how to target these vans, so you can have all the locks in the world and whatever else. And obviously it's going to help, but they just so I come up with this idea. You ready to see it? You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce you to my special guest. This is Gary. And Gary, because he looks like, I thought he looked like Gary Barlow. He actually looks pissed out of his head, to be honest with you. But yeah, he looks like, this is Gary. And I come up with this idea, and I thought, do you know what? He's going in my van. This is legit. He's going in my van, right? I'm going to belt him up. He's going to sit in the van. I might get a newspaper or something. Put his hat down. Look, it's the whole thing. Look, don't ask me how I found the blow up torso. And
So basically,
Yeah.
you've invented the scarecrow, but
Yeah.
it's the scare thief.
I thought I have not seen it. Look. What do you reckon, Gary? Yeah, I think it's a cracking idea, Joe. I think it's blinding, mate. Yeah, I can't wait to do the job. Save you a couple of quid, get the old van fees out of the way, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm being
I tell
straight
you
up.
what, if you employ him as a subby, then you'll also qualify for CITB training grants. So it's win-win here. There's probably some tax relief somewhere as well.
Do you know what the funniest thing is, well, though? Because he actually has been in my place for the last week. And I put him in the hallway, and I went out. I forgot, and he was sitting there and scared the living daylights. I was just, son of a bitch. It's just there sitting in the hallway. But yeah, I can't wait. But the thing is, where I live, actually, I'm in a flat, so we're like middle floor, and where my van's parked, a bit of a distance. I can see out the window, but I'm thinking, I've got to carry him down. I've got to get him into my van. Now, what do I do? Here's the dilemma: do I wrap him up in bags and look like a serial killer? Or do I deflate it all, take it apart, and put it back together in my van in front of everyone? So I don't know what to do. But what do you reckon? I know it's ridiculous, but at the same time, I think it's just because the way I see it, these van tool thieves, they're opportunists. If they drive past and they just see a figure of someone, even as knackered as he looks, right? I was just thinking it could be a deterrent. You've gone quiet on me,
and you're perfect. I think you're onto a winner here, but I think you've got to carry him out in one piece.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it could look really dodgy. You trying to reassemble a man in the passenger seat.
Well, I was thinking about wrapping him up in a carpet or something like that, and just.
Well, no. If you stick him in the passenger seat,
throw him out the window.
Yeah, if you stick him in the passenger seat and then got to lean over and blow him up, think, well, that's going to look like.
Yeah, like airplane, isn't it? Like autopilot. Brilliant. Oh dear. Well, you know what? I'm so pleased. But yeah, Fixed Radio, they wanted me to put this out at the end of the week. Oh no, I'm saving this. I'm saving this for you, lot. This is yeah.
Put a patent on it. You could be selling those, mate. 200 quid a go, easy.
Do you want one? Actually, do you know what? Won't get rid of him. You can see it. Yeah, we've worked with Sean's gone. We need 4 of us. What do you reckon? Yeah, mate. I remember when my van got nicked. Right? Oh, it was a right nightmare.
God, yeah. You're so multi-talented, John.
You
could do impressions as well.
I've got me moments, mate. I've got me moments. Right. I've lost where we are now. A couple of glasses of wine and showing off Gary. I don't know what's going on. Right. Okay. Products. Well, we mentioned this you mentioned this earlier. We were saying about no, actually, we're not going to go in products yet. We'll get to that in a minute. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing with all this paper. Past jobs, nightmare stories. I love all this sort of stuff. Now, let's start a bit positive, though. What have been some, then we get to the good bit. What have been some memorable moments from your career in decorating, Bryan?
A lot of jobs are quite memorable, to be honest. I really like the challenges where, say, I work on a lot of sort of older properties where I'm doing a restoration work on the windows with window care and timber build and all that sort of thing. When I can see and the client can see a real transformation, that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
I like to see their reactions at the end of it. I like to hear their comments. That just makes it all worthwhile. I'm not a lover of really just sort of going into what I call the newer houses, just
yeah, I totally agree.
Another colour, just
a
box room. There's no enjoyment in that. As I say, I like a challenge.
Yeah, no, I do. I think it's true because one of my favourite parts of doing this job is, like I say, transformations. But you see it on my social media. I take pictures. Don't get me wrong. When I walk into a house, it's never usually in that bad state. But I will take the picture when it's at its worst, when all the filling and the prep work's been done, because I want to really show what it's come from to what it looks like now. And that's my favourite bit. Get everything. Trying to line up the same shot, just trying to capture it, those 2 moments, and I love it. And exactly the same as what you were saying as well, the customer's reaction and getting the kind of reaction as well from fellow decorators and other people as well. So exactly. I look forward to getting it on social media. That's the sort of, I enjoy doing that. It's
yeah, that's what I'm currently doing now, because as you know, I've just released some of the pictures from that big job I did last year.
Yeah, and that was fantastic, that job. Absolutely amazing.
Huge job. The biggest job I've ever undertaken on my own. I'd say, okay, yes, there was a bit of hold up with COVID at the beginning of last year, but the job took me 10 months. What was going to be just a quick lick of paint everywhere did turn into a restoration. And I'm just so proud of the job. And so I posted a few more pictures of that on Instagram tonight. And I'm going to post a few more over the sort of coming weeks. And that, I say, it's one I'm very, very proud of.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. What about you, John? I mean, obviously, you're not on the tools, but you're involved in the industry. Have you got any kind of memorable, positive moments from your career involved in this trade?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, I really envy about the trade and what you guys do, and I love that I can be part of seeing those transformations, because obviously people will tag in Andura to everything they've done, and some of the stuff, it's like literal miracle workers. You look at it and it looks like a picture from like a horror film, and then you're like, oh my god, look what they've done there, it's fantastic. And that I've always loved that sort of sense of pride. My dad's a carpenter, and do you know what? The funniest thing, and the thing that most makes me want to be like get into a trade at some point, is just when you're just driving along and you can just go, see that house? I painted that house.
Yeah, I have turned into that bloke. I remember thinking, that's it now. You've peaked now, Joel. Yeah, see, you're driving along. I painted that. I've done that house.
Yeah. my dad always used to be. We'd just be driving along in a car, and he'd just take some sort of weird detour. And he'd be like, see that shed? Built that shed, and I'm like, did you, Dad? I was like, oh, amazing. But yeah, so it's weird. I don't get those sort of things, but I guess vicariously, I do get to see. Right? Oh my God, we've supplied the paint, and it's done this, or what's really rewarding for me at the moment with like when I help people with their sales and their marketing, and they come back to me. I mean, recently I spoke to a guy who was charging 120 quid a day and didn't quite understand how to market and sell himself better, and didn't understand what he should be charging and the cost price and stuff like that. And we did some work with him, and he messaged me back a couple of months later and said, I've put my prices up to £160 a day. I now know that I'm making profit, and it's absolutely changed everything. I was like, those bits and bobs that we've helped him with, that's another 10 grand a year he's earning.
That's it.
I just looked at it and I was like, oh, that is all I could ever want. If I never sell a book again, just knowing that I've helped a few people like that is awesome.
Well, I think I might have seen a comment you say, or I read something that you go to college, you get taught all the hands-on stuff, but you don't get taught those elements of actually running the business, because it's vital, isn't it? Because if you can do the job, but you don't know how to run the business to actually earn money, you know what I mean? It's like
it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, there's so much, and the whole system just seems to let people down, because you go into it and you're an apprentice and you start improving your skills and you get better at decorating and you start pushing out all this amazing work. And then you become the owner of the business, and no one tells you when you're the owner of the business, a huge chunk of what you're doing is you've got to learn marketing and sales and pricing and all the other bits that go into having a successful business. And if you don't get all those bits right, it almost doesn't matter how good you are at decorating, because if you're not good enough at telling people about it, then you're not going to get the work you deserve. Word of mouth will get you so far, but even with word of mouth, you've got to have processes in place, and you've got to have visibility so that people can recommend you. And so, for me, it's something that I think the industry needs a lot more of. And it's not just me. There's some new people bringing more and more information into the industry, and I'm buzzing for it. I think it's absolutely great and I think the more support that people can pour into the industry, the better, because it will just raise the whole profile of everything, and then it will lead on to attracting more and more people into the industry. It's an absolute, I think the future is really bright for painting and decorating. I think it is.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Yeah. Okay, this next question now, obviously, and for the people watching as well, I'd like to get your feedback on this. Nightmare jobs, nightmare clients, even nightmare bosses. You've got any experiences that you can share with us? I love this question. Because I'll tell you what it is for me, right? Is that I must be honest, since running my business, there's been a few situations and a few people that you meet, but like jobs before in the past, I mean, I've had some real experiences because I had no control of the people I was working for. I used to do a lot of insurance work and stuff like that. So literally meet them, handed a piece of paper, and that's the first time you meet them. Whereas now, if you kind of get a funny vibe, I think I don't think I'll do this job at all. So although it makes my life so much easier and I actually do prefer it, the stories get quite boring now. But although that's not to say that there are still stories to be had. Bryan, have you got any experiences that you can share with us?
I've never really had any nightmare clients as such. I've had some that have, pissed me off a little bit. Those that I touched on it in the last interview you did with me on Fix Radio about the lady that took 6 months and 28 tester pots to choose a colour, and she ended up going back to her very first choice in the end. The only consolation there was that she paid for all the tester pots, so it didn't cost me anything. But yeah, I've had a few clients where you're not happy to work in the house, either it's dirty or whatever. If I may, I'd just like to tell you a quick funny story.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
When we this was me and my father when he was working for me. We used to do some work for Hampshire County Council, our local authority, county authority, and they used to have, I suppose you'd call it like a cross between a halfway house and a commune, and it was run by some nuns, and it would take in ex-alcoholics and criminals, dare I say it, mostly Irish, and these nuns used to rule them with a rod of iron, and they would make them become self-sufficient. So they'd have, like, this particular small holding that they were on, they would grow their own vegetables, they'd have all their own animals, etc., etc. And they'd be taught the basics of life to survive. And we used to obviously go there for contracts to paint the outside or whatever. And we were there one day, and it was one of the earlier times when we worked there, before we really knew them. And we got offered a cup of tea. So, yeah, thank you very much. We'll have a cup of tea. So we stood there waiting for this cup of tea to come to us. And they bring this cup of tea out. And all of a sudden, he said, well, would you like milk? Yes, please. So they bring a goat round and put the cup underneath the goat.
I thought she was going to go like that.
Don't forget she's a nun. Yeah, they actually.
Oh my word!
Fresh goat milk straight from the goat.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, we always said after that, oh no, we're not thirsty at the moment, thank you. We refused everyone after that, but we had to drink that one because they stood there and watched us.
Yeah, and the goat watched you as well, like
that.
Yeah, rubbing his hooves together.
Exactly.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
John, any experiences?
I have, I have a DIY fail, which I suppose I can share from. Weirdly, I was talking about this the other day because it's almost exactly 10 years ago. Because a good friend of mine, he bought this new house. It was an ex-council house. It was quite run down. The whole thing needed redecorating. And his partner at the time was about 3 weeks away from giving birth. So it was, right, everyone, we're all 22 years old, all mates, round his house. Let's sort this whole place out. And obviously, it was just mates doing mates favours, so we were paid in beer. And this one evening, they had this like really deep purple colour on, and we were hanging some lining paper over it, and it was just typical. How hard can it be? This is before I knew how difficult decorating actually can be, and we were just absolutely pissed out of our heads. Load of us hanging this lining paper. All stumbled home at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Came back
like every other decorator.
Came back the next day, and every single sheet of it was wonky. All of it had to come back down again, and all of it had to get redone. But when we left at like 2 o'clock in the morning, we were looking at it like, that is a stunning job. I don't know how we've done it, but it's perfect. Come back the next day, and oh my God, everything was just, there were gaps everywhere. I was like, how did we think that was okay?
Mate, that happens to me when I'm sober, so you know. Oh dear, yeah. Like I was saying, like I'm encountering quite a few different kind of people, unusual people and stuff like that. But this job in particular, when I was doing like insurance work and get there, because it varied, because you could go from one place that would be like a multi-million-pound property to somewhere that's a bit more modest, just put it that way. But people varied as well. You just didn't know what you was going to get. And there's all these stories. These things just pop back to me. And I remembered one. I always jot them down when they come. Oh, hey, I remember that woman. And there was is one of the jobs we got there. And it said the woman won't move any furniture because she's so scared of spiders. And it wasn't that. She was just a lazy cow. That is it, plain and simple, right? And I had to re-silicone the bath. And so I re-siliconed it, and I said, "Oh, you can't, like, you have to leave it to dry and all that." And she's going, "Oh, my son needs to have his bath. He needs to have his bath. He's going to have his bath tonight." And I thought, the son was about 40. Like, she's going on about like a little kid, and I'm like, "Oh, it's like what do you call it, League of Gentlemen?" It's just odd. But then she said, I had to paint the bath panel, and she said, "Oh, I want silk," and I thought, "Oh, she means satin." So I painted, and then this is when I was still using oil base, because this is way back when. So I painted it in satin, and then I got a phone call from like my office going, she's rang up, complained because she actually wanted silk emulsion on this bath panel, and I was just like, oh God, go and run your son a bath, you weirdo. Yeah, it's just
oh dear,
very, very strange people. We've got a couple of comments here we're going to read out. We've got Tony Jackson via Facebook. Evening, Tony. I got COVID halfway through a job in January. Fortunately, I didn't pass it on to my customers, but did end up having to leave the job untouched for 2 weeks before I could return. I ensure social distancing and don't accept tea and coffee offers. Fair enough, mate. I think it's one of those things that can happen to anyone, and no matter how careful you are, it's the unfortunate thing of working in people's properties at the moment. I've got a comment here from Nick Turnbull. Hi, Jon Mears. Looking forward to reading a copy of your new book on advertising.
Awesome, thank you, mate. Yeah,
nice
not
one.
long now, not long now.
Right, we're very, very near the end now. Let's see what we can get.
I've got time for one more story, Joel.
Yeah, of course you can. Go on, mate.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward client, really. Very nice client. As I say, most of my clients are elderly. But I was doing this job for a couple, must be about 4 years ago now. She was around about 80 and he was late 80s. They weren't married, but that's fair enough. I've been together for years, and they lived in a rather large bungalow. It was a 10-room bungalow, and I had the job to literally do the whole of the inside, all the rooms. So I was going from one room to the next, to the next, to the next. When it got down to the front living room, we started to have problems because they said, well, we always like to go in there and watch telly. And I said, well, you're just going to have to stay out of there for a couple of days. We'd cleared the rest of the room out. All that was left in there was the telly in the corner and the settee in the middle of the room, obviously, and all my gear. So everything was sheeted up, cloths over the telly, cloths over the settee, all the floors covered over and everything, windows covered over. And I'm there painting away. I was painting the ceiling, actually. And she came in. This was quite early in the morning, so it would have been 9:15, something like that. And she said, do you mind if we come in and watch telly? And I said, well, not today. I said, because I'm doing the ceiling and then I'm going to be doing the walls. And she said, well, we won't get in your way. And I said, I'm doing the ceiling. You will be in my way. And they said, no, we'll be very quiet and we'll be very good. So they lifted up the cloth on the telly. They went and they lifted my sheets off the settee. They both sat down on the settee together, huddled up together like this. They picked up the dust sheets and they pulled them up over themselves like this. Sat there watching Jeremy Kyle, because he came on at about 9:30. And within 10 minutes, they were both sound asleep. And I finished the room with them. I didn't wake up till about 11. Yeah, the things you have to put up with when you're a decorator.
Yeah, definitely. You can write a book about it, John. I think we're getting quite close to the end now. I think what we should do is, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just plug our sponsors one last time. Leyland SDM are here to serve you with all your decorating and DIY essentials. They've got all the top brands in their 24 stores across London. Delivery is also available online. Leyland now deliver across the UK with free delivery on orders over £100. You get a free gift with every order. And if you're watching this event, you can also get 10% off your next order from leylandsdm.co.uk. Right, okay. I think also we're going to have there's a competition as well, where we said there's a competition to win one of 5 decorating prize packs from Leyland SDM worth £100 each, and also a chance to win a copy of Jon Mears' book. And there will be a button that will come up on the screen at some point, which will say to enter the competition, hit the green button that says enter competition, and you fill in your details to be entered into the draw, and the winners will be announced on Trade Decorator's social media. All right,
fair play, Joel. You nailed that.
Well done, Joel.
It was all Gary. Right.
I was just going to say hi to Gary. He wasn't here when I left.
Right, well, can I just say thank you, Bryan, thank you, John, and thank you, Sean. Unfortunately, I obviously had a few problems on the on his old computer, and thank you, Paula, as well. Thank you for having us back on to Close the Festival again.
Thank you, Paula.
Oh, it's been a great show. I've been sat here laughing my head off. I had to turn the mic off so I didn't interrupt you all.
Oh, good stuff. The job is complete.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's been a brilliant show. It's always a pleasure to have Fix Radio come and close the Trade Decorator Festival for us. And I hope you'll be back and join us again in October, when we'll be returning to your screens for 2 weeks from the 4th of October, guys. So watch out for that, and we'll be bringing you some more amazing sessions. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.
Have a great weekend.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'll do the closing music. Fix Radio.
I'm going to pop a link up. If you missed any sessions, you can click on there and you can watch a replay of everything that we've shown over the last 2 weeks. And you've still got time to enter our competitions. Bye, guys.